of uniform convergence of a series also, that we say that the series sigma fn converges uniformly in E if the sequence Sn of partial sums defined by Snx is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n fix x in E converges uniformly on E. So this is normal way of defining the partial sum, that here we have series sigma fn, you may start n goes from 1 to infinity. Then if you consider this particular partial sum, and if this sequence of partial sums converges uniformly, then series is said to be convergent uniformly. Remember, sequence of partial sums for that uniform convergence sequence, for a sequence that is defined in this definition. Okay. Because of time constraint, actually we are not going to discuss the proofs of few more results about which relates actually the uniform convergence and the other concepts of continuity and differentiability and integrability of the function, but merely we state these results here, because in 55 minutes we cannot complete the whole theory. So next we state the following three theorems about the uniform convergence. First of all, these theorems are very useful for all the proofs. Actually the entire content I have taken from the book of Walter Rudin, Principles of Mathematical Analysis. So those who are interested must see the book for the details. So let us look at those three theorems which are important. First of all, first one is the Cauchy criterion for uniform convergence. It is as good as the criterion for the series of numbers, or say sequence of numbers. We know that every sequence of real or complex numbers is convergent if and only if Cauchy. So similarly here a notion is there that the sequence of functions fn defined on E converges uniformly on E if and only if for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists n in n, that is natural number, such that whenever m greater than or equal to n and small n also greater than or equal to n, and x in E implies these hold mod fnx minus fmx less than or equal to epsilon. Sometimes such a sequence is called uniformly Cauchy. So Cauchy criterion for uniform convergence says that a sequence fn is uniformly convergent on a set E if and only if it is uniformly Cauchy on E. This result is quite useful sometimes to show uniform convergence, that suppose f is the pointwise limit of fn, that is limit n tends to infinity fn x is equal to fx, and put mn to be supremum of these quantities. Then a characterization is the following, that fn tends to f uniformly on E if and only if mn tends to 0. These criterion are useful in many times showing that some sequence is convergent uniformly. We are not, as I told you, we are not going to discuss now the proofs. Then next is the Weierstrass test. It is useful in showing certain series to be uniformly convergent. That suppose fn is a sequence of functions defined on E, and suppose mod fnx is less than or equal to mn for all x in E and for all n in n. If the series whose terms are mn, that is sigma mn converges, then sigma fn converges uniformly on E. So this is actually a very powerful test. It is like comparison test in sequence series of numbers, and it shows the uniform convergence of this series under this condition. Okay. Finally, we state results relating uniform convergence and continuity, uniform convergence and integration, and uniform convergence and differentiation. That we have given previously the enough examples to show that we cannot interchange the limits carelessly. So we need to take the care. So pointwise convergence is such that in which it does not allow us to interchange the limits. So now you can see this theorem, though they are without proofs, but it will allow us to interchange the limits. Okay. So suppose fn tends to f uniformly on a set E in a metric space. Let x be a limit point of E, and suppose that limit t tends to x fn t is equal to an. So this will be a sequence of numbers, say an. Then under the assumption that fn tends to f uniformly, we can say that this sequence of numbers an converges and its limit of a n is n tends to infinity. This is a sequence of numbers, so you have limit of a n is n tends to infinity. It is nothing but limit of f t when t tends to x. So that is going to become the value. So conclusion we can write in the different form also, that if you look at left, here it is limit t tends to x of f t, but what is f? F is actually limit function of fn. So f t can be written as like this, limit f t is nothing but this, limit n tends to infinity fn t. Okay, and the other thing here, limit n tends to infinity a n. What is a n? It is actually limit n t tends to x fn t. So if you replace a n by this, you will get the right hand side of this. So we get this particular equation. In this particular equation we have looked again also, and we have asked the question in equation number 3 that whether this can be done or not, and answer is given by this particular result, that under this assumption that fn tends to f uniformly, and if x is a limit point, then you can do this, that you take fn t, take limit n tends to infinity, then take limit t tends to x, or if you take fn t, take limit t tends to x and then take limit n tends to infinity, both are the same thing. So these two limit processes, by taking limit n tends to infinity or limit t tends to x, the order in which we take the limits is immaterial. The okay, as a corollary to this, you can have the following, which is a very important result, that if fn is a sequence of continuous functions defined on a set E in a metric space, and if fn tends to f uniformly on E, then f is a continuous function. Remember we had earlier that even if in an example, that even if each functions are differentiable and fn tends to f pointwise, f need not be differentiable. But you can see here that if each fn are continuous and convergence is uniform, then the limit function should be continuous. So this is a, here is a power of uniform convergence. Anyway, we are not going to discuss the proof. In the last last few minutes, actually I will discuss its relation with the Riemann or Riemann-Stieltjes integral in general. So let alpha be a monotonically increasing function on AB. Those who have not learned Riemann-Stieltjes integration, they may think that alpha x is equal to x, so that will give you the Riemann integral. I think TYBSc students must learn Riemann integration. So those who are not aware of Riemann-Stieltjes integral, assume that alpha x is equal to x. So suppose fn is Riemann-Stieltjes integrable with respect to alpha, or those you may simply assume Riemann integrable functions, and suppose that fn tends to f uniformly on E. Then as a result, uniform convergence, because fn converges to f uniformly, then what conclusion is this, that f must be Riemann-Stieltjes integrable with respect to alpha, and integral of f d alpha is equal to limit n tends to infinity of integral a to b fn d alpha. So the Riemann-Stieltjes integrability here, or in general Riemann integrability when you take alpha x is equal to x, it is actually in the conclusion of the theorem, and therefore what the theorem tells, that whenever all functions are Riemann-Stieltjes integrable and convergence is uniform, f must be Riemann-Stieltjes integrable. And of course the limit of the integrals is nothing but the integral of the limit function, which is here. In other words, you can interchange two limits, that this f is nothing but the limit of the functions fn. So you can write f is equal to limit of fn, so you will get integral a to b fn d alpha, and that is nothing but equal to limit of integral of fn. So actually in other words, you can say, loosely speaking, you can take this limit away and you can write like this, that integral a to b limit, if you take it away, it will look like this. So this is permissible when uniform convergence is there. So we can see from example 6 that uniform convergence of all of the sequence fn implies nothing about fn dash. So fn dash में हमने if you look at example 6, we have example of sin nx by root n. Yeah, it is this particular example, and in this we have seen that fn dash does not converge even to f dash, because it is does not converge, so it cannot converge to f dash. So even that sequence sin nx by root n, we can see that it is actually uniformly converges to 0 also. And now so we can see that the stronger hypotheses are required for assertion that fn dash tends to f dash if fn tends to f. We are not having any result when fn tends to f implies fn dash tends to f dash, but another version is there here, and that we state here a connection with differentiation, that suppose fn is a sequence of functions differentiable on AB and such that fn x0 converges for some x0 in AB. That means fn converges at some point, so that is what is given. If fn dash converges uniformly on AB, then actually fn should converge uniformly on AB to a function f, and f dash x is equal to limit of fn dash xx. Remember, normally we expect the result when if fn tends to f, can we say that fn dash tends to f dash? And answer is no in general. But this is a result when if you know that fn converges at some point and fn dash converges uniformly, then fn has to converge to uniformly to some function, and derivative of that function is nothing but the limit of fn dash. My reference, main reference, I have used only one, and that is Walter Rudin, Principles of Mathematical Analysis.
Sandhan, All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.